All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Compassionate Citizen, the World of Ability podcast network that's powered by and made possible by Transform You Media. I am Emily Gomer, one of your co-hosts today, along with Kurt Roskoff. And we are always pleased to be back here with all of you every week. Would you just explain about what the Compassionate Citizen podcast is? A little bit about it.
Yeah, that's right. It's your first day on the job, isn't it?
Oh, that was Kurt, but yeah, I'm giving it to you to explain.
All right.
Better than I can.
There you go. That's what we call moderation. So yeah, the Compassionate Citizens podcast here was inspired by Norland Dimmitt out of Chicago, who is out there building beloved communities, compassionate communities, and doing pilot programs and getting compassionate conversations going and meetups, so that people from varying political views can come together and have a compassionate conversation about the role of government in our lives and otherwise the things we can do as citizens to build these compassionate communities and neighborhoods, and getting into all of that. So we have been since August 2020 hopping on the bandwagon and participating in what has been for some time here the Happy Neighborhood Project. We know that March 20th, 2020, they had an International Day of Happiness event. And that's what spurred this network growing from the online event from Sacramento to over 67 events that it is today. It was in earlier months 73 events, but some events combined to kind of collaborate on building attendance from those autonomous groups, and doing so right now through collective groups, combining networking events to help the scaling of the growth that we are driving for. So around March 20th, 2022, that's a Sunday, so it'll probably be the 18th and 19th of March. We'll likely have events that will commemorate and celebrate International Day of Happiness. And that is something that is brought through the United Nations. And so it's a collection of things happening that's spawned from Edwin Eddeberry, our Chief Happiness Officer, getting recognized by the United Nations for his work in spreading happiness around the world. And that primarily in that time was in thanks to what is the I Am Happy Project. So what's going on here is that Emily and I are working in concert with our leadership at the Happy Neighborhood Project, inviting people from all over the world to this podcast. And so we're doing some awareness and some other digital presence and communications to help this be more well known in our community of neighbors, which through the Happy Co-op, you can check that out, thehappycoop.com. There are over 900 members to the Happy Co-op at the present time. So what's happening is with our work with me being captain of H&P captaining H&P Wisconsin, Minnesota, H&P Indiana, H&P New Jersey, and H&P Veteran Entrepreneurs. Through that position as captain, the community recently awarded us captains a benefit of being provided status as verified happy business. So that's the basic level of membership as a verified happy business. And with that, we're going to be getting a listing with the Happy Co-op community, which puts us out there to about 900 people right now. And we hope to participate with this community to drive it over 1,000 members of the Happy Co-op. And that could be you. Like I say, you just go to thehappycoop.com, you become a member, you can switch the paid membership or share membership over to free and just go ahead in there for free. And it all connects to your email address and shoots a message into your inbox with a token link. You click on that link and it brings you right into your back office for you. And you start collecting points. You can see our free Happy Business networking. You can register right within that dashboard, and then being registered just prior to the event itself, you can go find in your list of registered events, you can see a join link. You click on that, it takes you right to the Zoom meeting that you registered for, and you can go meet some of your newest friends right there with that link, and do some business networking, professional networking, community networking. Emily here started with giving an idea in our team meeting about having H&P nonprofit. So, what's that?
I was saying H&P nonprofit.
Yes, indeed. So all of this is part of our compassionate approach in plugging into the Happy Neighborhood Project. And so we hope with all these locations that we're reaching through our contacts from where folks are living, that as we do 2-to-1s and we start evolving these relationships with our friends all around the global community that is the Happy Neighborhood Project, that amazingly fits within one zip code. We're all part of the zip code HAPPY.
It's pretty impressive.
Isn't it?
It visit to a zip code, and then it spells a actual like readable word, like a real word, and that it's for their part of their name and mission and whatever with happiness. And that's pretty. How Edwin planned that, I don't know, but Edwin is pretty amazing. So he probably waved his magic wand and made that happen. Right, Kurt? Or did you create that for them?
I wish. It's stuff that I try to do, but yeah, I can't claim that one. Yeah, that's why Edwin is the Chief Happiness Officer, because he is the leader. He's the guy, he's the dude, he's the man with the master plan. And as part of his master plan, he has created with headquarters there with his staff, Aaron Justice and Fong Vo, they came up with this great thing that is the exclusive text community. So if you want to communicate with headquarters of the Happy Neighborhood Project, just go ahead and give them a text. You can text that zip code, HAPPY, to the text number 916-579-7688. Again, that phone number, you can text it right now, 916-579-7688. And then what that does is, a few times a month, there's priority announcements, significant messages that they have for our benefit. And they shoot those out 2 or 3 times a month to kind of keep us on the cusp of the latest and greatest. right here at the Happy Neighborhood Project. With that being said, in the work that I do, I'm all about collective impact. So when I talk about collective impact, I go beyond what it essentially is by definition, and I just kind of give my opinion of where collective impact ought to go. And it's through 6 primary parts of the community. And we start with the faith community, then service sector in terms of where you have your volunteer opportunities, or we a lot of times talk about time banking or mutual aid networks, all of that kind of stuff. We need, people that are making that happen at the table. And then we talk about lifelong learning. And I always like to include the learning that is provided at local libraries, where the public can go to a room at a local library and see a presentation where somebody from the community is sharing their expertise. And other than that, it would be our primary, secondary, and higher learning opportunities as well. And then we go to our politics, we go to our political parties, we go to our civic organizations, we go to what our municipalities are doing, our government agencies, and things like that. And then we talk about our professional circle, occupation, vocation, jobs, the employers, the enterprises, the solopreneurs, the members of the Chamber of Commerce, members of the Happy Co-op, this whole business economic sector ought to be represented at the table. And then all the fun things in life. I say what's fun gets done. And so with that, we got sports, recreation, hobbies, pastime, leisure activities, travel, entertainment, therapeutic activities, and on from there. And so representation on how that all works to make sure that we have equity in our communities. So with those 6 pockets of influence in our communities at one table at one time, talking about the issues at hand. And of course, here, Compassionate Citizens podcast, we are proposing that at that table, compassion is the most important ingredient to make sure that as we realize that maybe some things in the community are happening at odds with each other, we need to have that compassion to bring it all together in unity, because it is that unity that brings us to community. So it's basically the idea of come in unity and create your community. So that's backdrop that way. Otherwise, with the Compassionate Citizens podcast, it is brought forth. Emily, I'm going to need you to do screen sharing. You have taken the host privileges here on Zoom and left me as a guest without.
Sorry, Kurt, what would you like me to be? What would you like me to be sharing?
CompassionateCitizens.us. So she's going to bring up CompassionateCitizens.us, which is a page that Norland Dimmitt has introduced us to kind of give that one pager representation of the work that he has been doing. It's culminating as a lifelong journey. And so decades of effort into this. And so there it is, empowering beloved community. And he's got Connection Realty there, which is part of his monetization, that through the realty businesses, this important work can be funded. So you're seeing that we're funding Compassionate Westside Chicago. And we have the Caring Culture, Ecological Civilization, ABCD, Asset-Based Community Development, Civilize It, and it goes on. So a lot of exemplification, the AND campaign, Partnership for American Democracy, hashtag caring culture, hashtag wiser democracy, hashtag caring economy, the Economy Coalition. We have missional ecumenism, whatever that word is. I know what it is, but I have a tough time pronouncing it. So, and then we have a co-leadership team. So there are some contacts there to dive a little deeper in terms of what we embrace. We love what everybody's doing there. So always having fun talking to Norland, why Emily and I are not on there, but
Yeah,
we'll continue to have fun with that.
Here's Norland.
Yeah, Norland Dimmitt is one of their director at Compassionate Realtors. So a lot of effort.
People involved there. Click.
Yeah. So the idea is that, look at that, Norland's got his cell phone number on there, 630-362, whatever it was there, 4663. So you can shoot Norland a text and let him know that Emily Gulmer sent you. We'll have fun with that one. So, all right, that's good, Emily. That shows them that you can put in your email address and there's a get involved button. And so it's kind of what we're building off of when we created this podcast. And other than that, the constructs is we had been collaborating with Anna Maria Bliven from Onward and Upward and Prosperity Pathways, and then Daryush Ashtari from RNet and Purple Biz Directory and Asgad Security. So we were all collaborating around all this stuff when we emerged this podcast. And Daryush has evolved to create his podcast as well, the Tech Show with Daryush, which we expect will go into production starting Monday, January 3rd. He'll get into producing more episodes, but for the time being, his shows are kind of just on demand at the point. So it's a matter of, I'm guessing that most everybody out there has not seen all of his episodes. So it's the present opportunity is to do a little backtracking and catch up on all the shows of Daryush Ashtari, Tech Show with Daryush, that you have not seen yet so far. So with that, Emily, where are we going next? Right here at the Compassionate Citizens Podcast.
Before you came on, I was had started talking about Onward and Upward and Prosperity Pathways, and was saying something about our February event, February 22nd event, about combating veteran suicide. And I could say something to that too again, but you want to say anything about our 222 event?
Sure. We are designed to recruit event hosts. Now, it doesn't have to be a serious thing. I say it could be simply somebody at their house inviting a neighbor to come over and to watch this thing happen on Zoom together. And that could be somebody hosting a 222 to Save 22 event, so to speak. So it doesn't need to be serious. But with whatever people's appetite is for helping us expand the reach of this cause and this initiative, we want to recognize everybody who's helping us do that, even if it's just through one other person. So from there, it can go to whatever level. Somebody can try to get 22 people involved. Somebody can try to do 222, 2,222. Who knows? It can be whatever magnitude. Just seems quick and easy. It's happening within 60 days, February 22nd. So definitely a save the date request, and a request also share it around. If everybody could please share it around. It's a life or death situation. The old statistic is 22 veterans a day lose their life to suicide, but the update that I got from earlier this month in December 2021 is 33 veterans a day lose their life to suicide. So that means in a decade of time, the crisis has gone up 150%. 150% growth. And this is after expending, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to the issue. And we're losing more lives than we were before. So it's definitely on an upward trajectory, which is really serious. It's a critical situation. And so we're calling an all hands on deck on this. Meaning that everyone that hears this or understands this point in time that we're at, I guess here at Compassionate Citizens, we'd say, if you feel you're compassionate, you will do something with this information and share it, not keep it to yourself. That's the only compassionate thing to do, because the opportunity here is to save a life. That's the opportunity. Because if we can get it out there that over a decade, it's grown to 150% its original issue as compared to 10 years ago. It's gone from the 22 a day to 33 a day, totally in the wrong direction. And we're losing the lives of veterans. And it's suicide ideation. It's people reaching a dark place, reaching such a brain chemistry experience that disease aspect sets in. And the brain starts doing something that is uncharacteristic to that person. And so the brain goes into almost like autopilot and starts going into a deep, dark tunnel. And next thing you know, the body is conducting an act of killing itself. And it's through this experience. It's through something where the automatic function of ourselves takes over, the fight and flight response and all of these things that are human reactions and so forth take over. And next thing you know, the life is lost out of the body carrying out response that comes from disease, is what it amounts to. And it's through depression, PTSD, through the psychological depression and, just really, getting into a human experience, which is, very unattractive. And it's something that, with professional involvement, there can be intervention and there can be help and aid, and a person can come to a better direction, and a life can be saved with professional involvement. So that becomes the key, that for all of us that want to help, if we're not that professional, which 99.999% of us are not. So the biggest awareness is about, I was going to call it's I'm trying to recall the acronym. It's QPR: question, persuade, refer. So you come in and you just ask, because it's an experience that a person is going through. So you have to find out how you might be able to get that person to open up to be in a place to receive your help. So we want to make sure we're not assuming that the person is going to respond well to our help. So we ask questions, and their answers to our questions is going to help us understand more about what we're dealing with and what they're dealing with and what they're going through. And then with that, if we feel we get to a point where we have their trust, we have their faith, and we even ask for that. Like, would you like my help? And we hope we get to a point where the answer is yes. So now if we're in the position that they are accepting our assistance, now we work on persuading them to stick with you until you can onboard them to somebody of higher care for them. So we can get the suicide hotline involved, we can get 911 involved, we can get 211 involved. We can do those outreaches with them, and we can keep going until we know they're in the hands of a professional, and that professional assures us that that they have the suicide ideation being attended to, that they are that professional that can carry that person through a process to unravel that suicide ideation. So until then, and that's in the referral process and going from there. And we know in the veteran community that a lot of veterans adopt a buddy system where a veteran will commit to making a phone call every single day just to check in to see how their friend is doing, and to be there in a similar way in case there is suicide ideation. So on February 22nd, we're talking about having an employment fair so that we can help veterans get jobs, because having income can be something that helps the pride of having a job and helping them, sustain a job and things like that. Making those connections can be powerful. And then otherwise, a general resource fair for veterans to help them understand resources in life that they have across the board. And then we have a drone ball drop where balls are put up in a drone, a couple hundred of them, each of them are numbered, and then dropped over a target. And then it's determined who is the closest to the target. And you grab that one, you look at the number it is, and that number corresponds to a person who had purchased that number for a grand prize giveaway, and then keep going like that for other prizes that are part of the drone ball drop giveaway. And then we have a smash party. A smash party allows participants to partake in an energetic experience, smashing an object and getting that adrenaline going, getting on a high. And then at 15 minutes, it's ended with the high energy side of it. And then it goes to lowering the energy and going through a therapeutic meditation. And so that happens for 15 minutes. And so the high energy with the low energy and being neutralized, it is a very effective way to deal with things that we have going on in our life. And if nothing else, it's entertainment. And then as far as the event, there'll be musical talent, live musical talent, and there'll be local events with banquets going on. As far as the Zoom event, it's BYOF, bring your own food, and BYOB, bring your own beverages. And, because nothing's going to be offered through Zoom that way, obviously, for consumption that way, but you'll be able to consume a nice online virtual event. 22 hours of activities being organized in 22 different locations around the world, and all in response to this issue of losing the lives of veterans to suicide. Save the date, February 22nd.
If if anyone is interested in either learning more about this event, or are interested in getting involved somehow, to please feel free to reach out to either me or Kurt, and we can get you to where get you the information you need to move forward. And so the 222 Site 22 is in response to help combat veteran suicide, as Kurt was talking about. And it is also a fundraiser for Onward and Upward, which is a nonprofit that Anna Maria founded 4 years ago, like 4.5 years ago. And Onward and Upward is about combating homelessness and helping the veteran community. And there's also an aspect of helping with employment in those two groups as well. So if anyone is interested in finding out more, please feel free to reach out. And if also, or especially if you're wanting to learn more, and if you are interested in sponsoring, donating, volunteering, if you have somebody to refer to, please feel free to reach out to us. Onward and Upward's website is onwardupwardinc.org. onwardupwardinc.org. And our email is contact@onwardupwardinc.com. And our phone number is 608-515-8227. So if you're feel free to reach out in any of those ways. And sure, Gil will say his info shortly. Kurt, I did before, do it again, but before I had shared the Compassionate Citizen Project Facebook page to everybody. Can I show that got in here quick? To everybody. And we would love it for everybody to like, comment, share, and so on to this page. And this page right here, Message Citizen Project. And we also have a Compassionate Citizen group as well. So if you guys could join that group and as well. And um, uh, we recently formed a veteran coalition in the last couple months or a few months. And one of the veteran organizations that's part of this coalition is called the Veterans Ranch, which is down in Florida, Lakeland, Florida. And they are having an event coming up here in just a few weeks, on January 14th, 15th, and 16th. And Carrie, would you like to say anything about that while I get the flyer to show everybody?
Okay, yeah, Horses and Heroes Jamboree, January 14th, 15th, 16th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Camping, fishing, other experience, obviously horseback riding and stuff like that, can have the horse therapy demonstrated. So it's a little bit of a who do you know in Florida? Who do you know in Florida, USA? And because basically it's a live event. And so basically for those of us, like I'm in Milwaukee, so our opportunity is to share it far and wide, keep the who do you know in Florida campaign going, being aware that they do have operation in Texas as well. So there could be some special arrangements taken on as well to learn more about their Texas operation. But right now they are doing this event to really demonstrate what they have intended. Look that they got a campfire going there. They got fishing going off of a nice fishing dock. And so horse behavior demo, camping, fishing, campfires, and more. Nancy Slater Cowboy Camp. They're in Lake Wales, Florida. They're showing vet and +1 covered. Email pjjranchcorp@gmail.com. pjjranchcorp@gmail.com to register and other communications regarding the event. You can find postings on this on LinkedIn.com as well as Facebook.com and perhaps other places. You probably could be doing well going to Google and Googling Horses and Heroes Jamboree, the Veterans Ranch. And you can always feel free to contact Emily and me about any curiosity you have with the event. We're happy to help you as well. Emails to me go to Kurt, K-U-R-T, at thedisabilitychannel.us. Phone calls and texts go to 262-372-1SKI. That's 262-372-1754. Feel free to contact us anytime. So Emily, I don't know if you had anything more on Horses and Heroes by the Veterans Ranch.
And it's led by Veterans Ranch is run by a guy named JR, and he's been a big part. He's been involved a little bit with the Happy Neighborhood Project as well. And just trying to help them promote this event. I'd like to see them have a good turnout to this event. So please, everybody. If you are able to, if either you are able to or know of somebody that can attend that event, to please do, or let them know. And we'd love to keep the Veteran Ranch going and keep it and for it to grow if and also just have a another plug in. We have a Happy Neighborhood Project co-host who is going through a tough time financially right now, and is on the brink of becoming homeless. And they have a she and her husband have a GoFundMe account, or account, GoFundMe going. Do you want to say anything about that? Can if anybody who is interested or able to donate to this cause, I encourage you to do so. They are trying to raise $15,000. I haven't looked just recently, or but they were, the last time I checked, they're only like a third of the way there. So we pleading with everybody to either whether do something to help, whether that's donating financially or some other way. We have not to have his co-host be out on the streets. And Jared, do you have anything you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, we fortunately have been seeing a little bit of response to that. When we looked at it, it was, I think I have this right, maybe I have that wrong, because they had about $5,000 of the 15. Trying to think, I want to say that they were just a little shy of 5,000, or were they always over 5,000? And we looked at it.
I think when we first got the link, it was just under 5,000, but then I think it ended up getting to over 5,000.
Yeah, now it's 5,535 of the $15,000 goal. Are you able to pull it up? Do you have the link handy or no?
Not right here from me. I know I
Got
have it.
in the chat.
Um,
Emily's just here with her, liking to be the host and not setting me
well,
up.
Kurt, I have the link. I just don't have it saved here right in front of me to you access it quickly. Um, Kurt, you're on mute if you.
And when I try to screen share, it says host disabled participant screen sharing, but that's okay. We'll let Emily do it all. So there you go. Help John and Pat stay in their home. And that's the $5,535 that we're talking about. So big thanks to the responsive people who got us, I'm going to say, over $600 of response since Emily and I jumped in to try and help. So we're creeping along, getting there. Thanks to all the support. We hope we can keep it getting shared out there, because we got a long ways to go to get them another $10,000.
Please, if you can help out in any way with that, please do so. And you have anything you'd like to bring up, Kurt? Talk about today?
Sure, I'll share a little story that I've shared on podcasting before, but I will repeat myself a little bit, plus have a little update for everybody. But a little over a week ago, over the weekend, my wife, daughter, and I, we rented a U-Haul, and we had a very interesting experience with U-Haul. It was a U-Haul service that was attached to a gas station operation. So we go in to rent the U-Haul, and they make a mistake on our credit card transaction. They fail to tell us that the unit is missing a gas tank cap, and then they failed to tell us that the speedometer reading wasn't readily handy, because there was an alert that there was a tire with low pressure. So just kind of had a little wonky experience with U-Haul, and at least through this gas station. And so we proceed along. We found out from them that they didn't mind the low pressure in the tire, and we go and we do moving these objects. Basically, it was through an auction that was done with a senior care center that was relocating. So they basically were vacating a location and moving on and doing all their services with other locations. And so they did this auction to have people like us come and just take stuff for pennies on the dollar. And so we were able to fill that truck. I'm forgetting what the dollar amount was, but let's say it was like $47. And then there was one of the items was for a friend. So the stuff we were getting was not even at that amount. So basically got a bunch of stuff on a steal through this auction process. And so we pick it up, load it up in the U-Haul truck, and we get it to our house, offload it, go back with empty U-Haul to the gas station, go back, and this mistake on the credit card persists. We find out at that point that they were full well aware of that the gas tank cap was missing. So we didn't have to worry about that. We didn't figure we did, but that's when that came together. And, so, but basically with the credit card issue, we were instructed that we had to call U-Haul customer service. So it's like, okay, not a big deal, but just surprised how they facilitated that, because we're living in a day where, in terms of getting help at these locations, being the employer, there's a phenomenon going on all around, where we're in a time called the Great Resignation. So basically, people's tolerance at a job, at a workplace, has gone way down, and people are not taking jobs. Like with my daughter, with her school, the beginning of this semester, we had an experience where they couldn't get enough bus drivers. So that finally in the recent month is rectified, but went quite a number of weeks there with school where the bus line just didn't have enough bus drivers, so had to combine routes to get students back home from school. But in any case, with this U-Haul situation, we're at this gas station, and my daughter and her dog are outside while my wife was going inside to take care of it. And then my wife had returned, and there was this gentleman that was starting to engage with us outside the entry to this gas station. And he was all complimentary. He was showing that he liked our dog and all this kind of stuff. And my wife and I are starting to talk about this credit card thing, and it caught me off guard, because I'm like, well, why aren't they calling? It's like they had the problem, they made the mistake, and now I gotta call. And she was going to have us just go down the road and then call while we're on the way. And I'm like, no, I want to stay close to the point of sale while we're figuring this out with customer service. So this was all like 10 minutes before 5. So my wife hangs on the line for the 8-9 minutes, and then all of a sudden the call disconnects. Oh boy. Okay. So now it's like, okay, she's got to reconnect the call. She goes to reconnect the call, only to find out that their hours at the call center end at 5. So that's why it disconnected. So just interesting situation here. But this guy starts to interject without even being at the point that we're calling U-Haul, like he said. He started to get all excited, like, yeah, they'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of reacting with, like, I think you should call. Like, you all made the mistake. Like, you should be calling U-Haul and just have them correct your mistake. And it's like, no, that's not how we do it. And then he's like, you got to take that up with the owner. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's get the owner involved. Let's see what the owner says. And so he's like, how many times do I got to tell you? I think he was surprised that I had that reception to the idea. And he said, how many times do I got to tell you? Just got to call U-Haul. And I'm like, I don't know, 100? I'm just kind of telling him that he's kind of, engaging with me in a way that I didn't feel it was necessary. But he got all excited. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to call the cops. So I'm like, yeah, let's get the police involved. They're here to, serve and protect, and I'm sure they'd want to know what's going on here. So yeah, let's get this documented on a police report. So, okay. So he claims that he's going to call the police. Well, as things would have it, my wife deals with all this stuff with the U-Haul phone call. And then we're kind of reevaluating our circumstance, because we had other plans. We had to move on. But in that time, she realized that, sure enough, this guy is calling the police, which didn't bother me. But I'm like, we got other plans. We're not going to stick around. We'll deal with this later. But it was interesting that he was calling the police. So with all of this, I ended up that I did follow up with the owner. I did follow up with the police. He did call the police, but apparently something else developed where he needed to call the police, but it wasn't around our situation. So we got that all cleared up and called the owner and interacted with him. And I'm like, are you aware of what your employee all did? And he said, yeah. And he was very nonchalant about it. He just really wasn't engaging with me. I just wasn't feeling like he was addressing the issue. because I kind of wanted to clear the air and kind of leave it on a positive note. But he was just kind of really lackluster. So that really really disappointed me. I didn't even know at first I was talking to the owner. I just talked to the person that answered the phone for a while, and it ended up being the owner. So I kind of left with a little sour taste in my mouth. Like, that seems a little odd that what I just told you happened, and that he's so passe about it. And so, like, whatever, so that seemed concerning. So I kept with U-Haul customer service, and we got to a point where the regional manager was involved, and he ended up following up. And so we reviewed the whole thing. And then he ended up meeting back with the owner, and come to find out that the owner misconstrued which situation I was referring to. And apparently he thought I was involved in the other police matter. so I just kind of bring this up to say that, you never know what people are dealing with. Come to find out from the owner that the employee that kind of was all, dramatic with me, it ends up he's not working at this gas station anymore. So I'm hoping it's not just because of the situation with me. I'm figuring it was that this guy just is all the time dramatic or something, and it just either that or you just quit. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't told why he's not working there. So but just interesting stuff there, and even talk to this regional manager about that. I understand we don't know what people are dealing with. For all we know, this guy that used to work at the gas station, maybe is a veteran, maybe had a PTSD moment. Don't know, completely speculating, making up a scenario. Have no idea that this applies, but you just never know is the point. And then with the owner kind of getting a misplaced response was because he misunderstood. So staying in that compassionate mode pays dividends. And now it's at a point where the owner is inviting me to stop over. So at some point, I'm expecting that I'll stop through and visit back, and we can meet in person, and kind of, like I said, with the original intent, bringing it to a positive point. So I just share that as a little anecdote for what we all know happens in life. And that if we look at, people in the service industry, we don't know what background they have. Being in management, the tough time management has, finding decent employees. Everybody's a decent person, but everybody comes with a background. And for the customer, it can present its challenges where what we expect doesn't happen. And then we're almost in that managerial space with the employee. This can happen. So I just share that story to say that I guess a week and a half ago, I experienced a little test of my compassion. And I don't know that I was all exemplary or whatever, but I did navigate with that idea in mind that, we'll try to apply a little compassion before we're done here. And I think we're getting there. And I think that's kind of what we did. And so what ended up happening is U-Haul ended up refunding our whole rental. First, they credited the mistake they made. And then with all this going on, they ended up refunding the thing in total. So they gave us a gift of a free rental by the time it was all done. So I told them I was going to take it as a holiday present.
So there you go, nice holiday present.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, I say compassion pays. I don't mean in that what happened there monetarily, but it just pays in getting things where they need to be, and just being able to move on from it with a little bit more satisfaction and clear mind of it all. So I'll leave you with that, Emily. Where do you want to go from here?
I think we are about at our very close to our hour, not our hour yet. And I would like to and we'd like to invite everybody to join us on this podcast as well as our few other podcasts that we are doing and helping out with. One of them being in like 2.5 hours, called the World of Women. And so please reach out if you're interested in that. And we are also kind of looking for people to be guests, but also if anybody is interested in being like a co-moderator, to please, if anybody's interested, to reach out to us about that as well. Is there anything you want to add to about any sort of an ending before we say goodbye?
Sure. I want to get out there blog reference real quick. Transform You Live Network.blogspot.com. Again, with Transform You, it's the letter U. So Transform You Live Network.blogspot.com. Check it out. Nice little blog there to give you some additional insight to what we've got going on here with Transform You Media Network. And other than that, always things that can add to involvement we're getting with social media in terms of reactions, such as like and with sharing and commenting. And so we hope everybody out there can continue that and help us liven up our posts and get it out there so more people can enjoy this programming that we are working hard to provide. And we also always welcome guests. So again, whatever interests you have with this show, feel free to email Kurt@thedisabilitychannel.us, text and call 262-372-1754. And we are looking forward to keeping this podcast going each week, and even now through the weeks of the holidays here. So we'll see you next time on December 28th, Tuesday, December 28th at 3:00 Central for our next Zooming for live streaming and recording to the syndication provided at Transform You Media Network. And this is a production of World of Ability Podcast Network.